I've been in this season of P.I.E. And when I say this season of P.I.E, I mean, I've been in a season of having to pivot, having to immerse myself, and having to embrace things that I have not embraced before. The first part of this little season of P.I.E that I've been going through, right, is pivoting. And pivoting is when you have to make a sharp change, you have to change directions, and when you have to maneuver in a way that you did not expect or anticipate you would have to, right? And it's usually when you have an unexpected change. It's when you get that diagnosis you weren't expecting, when you have to leave an environment or a space you weren't anticipating leaving. It's that moment that catches you off guard. It is that, oh, I didn't see that coming. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't see that coming. This is that moment. Like, that pivot moment, yeah, there's been a lot of those, okay? That pivot, yeah. Whew. That pivot moment will have you thinking on your feet and going right back to the drawing board like, okay, hold on. How do I move past this? How do I move on from this? Because this was coming out the blue. This came out the blue. So having to think on your feet is so crucial. It was so crucial for me. Like, in that moment of having to pivot, like the different moments of having to pivot, when I think about it, it's like, it was just so quick how things switched up, how things changed, and having to have a contingency plan when you weren't even thinking about having a contingency plan or having a backup plan. You know, having to think on your feet quickly and swiftly to where you still get to where you want to go, right? So that takes me to the next one. So after I had my moment of needing to pivot and I redirected myself, I noticed that the next thing that I needed to do was to immerse myself. And immersion is when you're deeply involved and deeply focused, right? So I had to become real transparent with myself about who I was at that time, who I was. And then I had to compare it to who I wanted to be. And why I had to compare was because I needed to see, what was I lacking? What was missing? What do I already have? What do I need to work on? And what do I need to let go of, right? And now that also falls into acknowledging where you fall short in your shortcomings. And I think that's where a lot of that frustration comes in, because talking about your shortcomings and having that conversation with yourself about your shortcomings does not mean it is a bashing fest. That does not mean that you're just sitting there and talking bad about yourself and how you're not enough and you can't do this, and you can't do that. No, it's being honest with yourself and saying, I could do better with my attitude. I could be better with being more grateful and thankful. I could work on my time management. It's not saying I'm a terrible person and I'll never become anything. That's not what that's for. And I want to make that very clear. Like, that's not what that's for. And when you are acknowledging your shortcomings, it's being said with love. It's saying, I could work on being more proactive. And that's true. It's true. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It doesn't have to be said like, oh, I'm stupid. No, it's just, I could work on being more proactive because I notice that's something that I'm lacking in. It's being honest with yourself. And I am learning. Being honest with yourself is so important. Like, you have to be real with yourself. You can't get real results if you putting in fake energy. Like, come on now. So another part of immersion that I experienced was having to remove myself from environments and people. And why this was so important, because I would notice that there were people and environments that were creating distance between where I wanted to be and where I was. I'm gonna say it again. I noticed that there were people and environments that were creating distance from where I was and where I wanted to be. And now, how could that happen? That happens when people don't challenge you. When people are okay with you just showing up late. People are okay with you just giving them the bare minimum. People are okay with you just doing whatever you choose to do, however you choose to do, whatever way you choose to do it. There's no standards because people don't expect it from you. That's one way of how an environment can be unhelpful for you, right? Another one is when you're enabled. When people just, oh, it's okay. Oh, it's fine. No, don't worry about it. No, it's okay. Or when people make you feel less than what you are, when people make you feel unseen, unheard. It's so many different ways that people and places and environments can create distance. But the common denominator is that you are around those people and you are in those environments. So it's you. You have to remove yourself from those people, from those environments. You have to do it. They're not going to do it. You have to do it, right? So you have to keep in mind, right? The best version of yourself. Keep that in mind. Keep reminding yourself about the best version of yourself. Another thing that I would do when I was in that immersion season, that immersion time frame, was I would write and it got to a point where I would scrapbook, I would do poetry, I would do so many things. I would go on walks. It was just so many things that I would do. But I tried to do things that were tangible that I could come back to and look at. So, for example, I would write in my journal. I would journal different things. And every so often I would go back and look at it to see, what did I miss? Or what was it that I didn't care for? What was it that made me feel good? What made me feel bad? And when you go back and you look at the things you wrote, the things that you draw, especially if you are an artist and art is your way of journaling, that's fine too. Something expressive that you can look back at and say, oh, wow, I didn't know that this was how I interpreted this right here. I didn't know that this was how I felt. Another thing that has really helped a lot was voice memos. I remember a while back, somebody told me that they use voice memos just to sort their thoughts out, and I would use it and I would go back and listen to it, and I was like, wow, I could hear the pain in my voice. I could hear the sadness in my voice. I could hear the frustration in my voice. Like poetry, writing, drawing, journaling, voice memos, those are so many different things that you can use to help you sort through your thoughts. And there is no right or wrong way to do it. I don't care what nobody says. There's no right or wrong way to journal. There's no right, no wrong way to draw, to do voice memos. The only thing that you need is your thoughts and your feelings. That's it. So you can see what's holding you back. You can see your toxic cycles. You can see what you really desire. And you can also see what you truly feel. Because there's nobody disrupting it. There's no outer voices disrupting that. Keep that in mind, because that's what's so special and so important about immersion, is that there are no outside voices. There should not be any outside voices in this spot, in this season, in this time. And you want to surround yourself with people and places and things that inspire you to grow. You need to surround yourself with people, things, and places that inspire you to grow. When you are around a group of people and they all have good habits like time management, right? Budgeting and money management skills, they're very kind people. At some point, it's going to rub off on you. We're like sponges, right? If we're in a space for a long period of time, we're going to soak up something from where we are at. We're going to soak up something from our environment, from those people. And a lot of time we don't choose what we soak up because we don't recognize what we're soaking up at that time. But I encourage you, I heavily encourage you to be around people and be around things and spaces and places that make you want to grow, that encourage you to grow, that challenge you to grow. Because when you are with people who do not have any sort of standards or any sort of care for you, they aren't going to challenge you. They aren't going to challenge you. They're not going to encourage you to be better. They're going to keep you in a space that's beneficial for them. Having to take it with like a grain of salt. That's what it's like, a grain of salt. Like, unfortunately, this is a space that I'm not thriving in. Unfortunately, this is a space that I am not being cared for in. This is a space that I'm not being challenged. And sometimes it's not that people don't care, it's just that they don't have the capacity for your next level. And that doesn't mean they're bad. That doesn't mean they're not good. That doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that y'all just don't align at that time. And that's okay too. But you have to love yourself enough to say, okay, well, my time for being in this space has expired and I have to move on. So that leads me to embrace. Embracing is accepting willingly or enthusiastically, right? So embracing and accepting discomfort, unfamiliarity, and your truth. This one really made me really hesitant. Really, scared is not the word, but it made me very uncomfortable. Like, extremely uncomfortable. But when I did it, and as I'm still practicing doing it, because it's not just a one-time thing, it's something you have to keep recommitting to, right? When I did it and I started to acknowledge certain things, I started to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, it's so peaceful. It is. It's so peaceful. And I'll get to that in a second. But I think that these are the hardest 3 things to accept: the discomfort, the unfamiliarity, and accepting your truth. And I have reasons as to why. Discomfort is painful. It's irritation. It could be physical pain. It could be mental unease. It could be distress, or it could be grief, right? The issue with discomfort is that it is painful and it does not feel good. And discomfort will have you questioning if you're ready, if you're strong enough, if you're capable enough, if it's necessary. Discomfort will have you questioning yourself of if you have what it takes. And I think the beauty of discomfort is to sift through the people who really want it and who really don't. Who really got what it takes to go get it and who really don't. Because if you can't take discomfort, then you can't go no further than where you at right now. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, if you can't get uncomfortable, then baby, you can only go but so far. Because you can't get nowhere being comfortable. You can only go but so far being comfortable. It wouldn't have been given to you, that assignment, that challenge of becoming uncomfortable wouldn't have been given to you if you couldn't handle it. If you weren't prepared for it, it wouldn't have been given to you. If you weren't strong enough, it wouldn't have been given to you. If you weren't enough, it would not have been given to you. Remember who you are, okay? Like, remember who you are. And I think a lot of us forget who we are, but remember who you are. Cause you got it. And you that one. Hello. The next one, unfamiliarity. Unfamiliarity is a state of not knowing, understanding, or having an experience with a place, person, thing, or idea. So what makes unfamiliarity one of the hardest things too in that season of embrace is you will be second guessing your decisions. You'll be second guessing your sanity. The amount of times that I have been like, am I crazy? Like, am I crazy? Is it me? It will really have you second guessing. Like, being in an unfamiliar place will really have you just kind of sitting there, just like dumbfounded in a way, just dumbfounded. Like, am I just not getting it? Or do I just not understand it? It is kind of funny because you really see that those big walls, those big ghosts, those big monsters that were, gonna defeat you. You're like, they're not even. I was scared of that. A little bit of change. I was scared of that. That's what I was scared of. It's not as bad as our mind creates it to be. Change is not as bad as our minds has it out and set to be. Like, I feel like we are so good at making these horror films when it comes to unfamiliarity, when it comes to change and discomfort, because we have amazing imaginations, right? We just make it so sad and so dark. And it doesn't have to be. It really doesn't have to be, right? You're going to be in a place you've never been in before to get to a result that you've never gotten before. So you're going to have to be put in a place you've never been to get to where you've never gone, right? Because if you wanted to get to where you've never gone and you could just do it from where you're at, why haven't you done it yet? Exactly, because you can't, because you have to do something you've never done, go somewhere you've never been to get something that you've never had, that you've been dreaming and hoping for. Your truth. And your truth, how I would describe it, is the purest essence of your being or your soul, your authentic self, your beliefs, your desires, your dreams. And I feel like embracing your truth is so hard because they rarely ever align with where you are at. Like, if my goal is to, if my dream, my best self, like when I see myself at my highest point, I have thousands and thousands of dollars, that I am financially abundant, right? But right now, let's say I'm living check to check, or I'm only working part-time, or I'm filling out applications for jobs. And it's like, be realistic. How could I even get to that point when I'm here? And that right there, that mindset is what makes it so hard. Because we can't see the possibilities. On one end, you can see it. Like, you can daydream about it. But when you apply it to reality, it's like, that's never going to happen. That's not going to happen. And that's that mindset right there, that lack mindset. The lack mindset is what makes it so hard for us to embrace our truth and for us to embrace who we are and what we are capable of. Another thing that adds to that lack mindset is this mindset that you're not ready. The mindset that you are not ready and you do not know what to do or how to do it, or what you need to sacrifice in order to get what it takes to live in your truth. Something that I will never forget. Something I will never, ever, ever forget in this time frame is that the moment I decided just to show up as the best version of myself that I could, like, I would envision myself being my best self. What would she wear? What would she look like? What would she do? And I would do the best that I could do with what I had at that time. I would notice, and please, 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 please hear me when I say this. I would notice how God would create things to work in my favor when all I did was put my best foot forward. When all I did was did the best with what I had. It is going to be hard because you are leaving from environments and spaces and people and places that you have known for a long period of time. And now you see that there's more for you. There's more out there for you. The limit is not, the bar don't have to stop here. You're limitless. You are limitless. When you look around at what you have and your mind drifts off to where you want to be, and what you want to do and what you want to become. And you're doing the human math. You're doing the human math of how to get there. And your math is not adequate enough, honey. Your math is not enough. That's why it will never add up, because you can't do it off human math. All you need to do is have faith. When we deny our truth, when we deny our authentic selves, and we deny and we move away from, or we suffocate or suppress that side of us, the true us, it comes out in denial, it comes out in procrastination, it comes out in becoming fake, it comes out in turning a blind eye and acting like we don't see it, right? And I think the biggest reason why we do is because there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees that it'll all work out. There's nothing written in stone that says, if I do this, I get this, right? It's like everything is kind of up in the air. And not only that, but there's no definite, and there's no control. You can't control it. You can't control it. All that is there is faith. Faith and putting your best foot forward. That's where the sweet spot is at. Because you don't need to be in control. You don't need to know how it works. You don't need to know the ins and out of it. You don't need to know those things. You don't need that information. You don't need to know that. You don't need to do the long division of it, because it don't work anyway. It's not going to work. Like, your way of doing it is not going to work with compared to the way God is going to do it. Another key part of embracing yourself that I found to be really hard and really challenging was becoming present with myself. Present with myself meant asking myself, how am I really doing? And really listing what I'm feeling. But the key of it is not to justify why you feel the way you feel. Do not justify it. So, for example, I could say I feel angry. I feel angry because I lost my car keys. I don't have to justify it. Well, I wouldn't have lost them if this wouldn't have happened. If that, nope. That's not necessary. All you have to do is be present with how you feel. Acknowledge how you feel. Be present with it. I feel angry. Feel that anger. Let whatever feeling come out. Let it come out. The beautiful part about it is that you aren't going to be around anybody, so you don't have to worry about your reactions. You don't have to worry about what people are going to think. You don't have to worry about that. This is something you're going to do by yourself. If you're sad, allow yourself to be sad. If you feel you're going to cry, cry. If you're going to put your head down, put your head down. If you want to close your eyes for a second, close your eyes for a second. But acknowledge how you feel. This was that turning point for me. This was when I really was like, wow, like I feel like it was a weight lifted off of me. Because so often I will express how I feel, and I try to justify why I feel how I feel, when it's not necessary. I don't need to justify it. I don't need to talk about all the events that led up to this one thing that happened. That does not matter. How do you feel? How do you feel? Why do you feel how you feel? I feel sad because this. I feel mad because that. That's it. And sit with it. Sit with it until it's gone. There's something so beautiful about children and people who are older than us, right? And our elders. It's something so beautiful about it, because with children, when they're sad, they just sit and cry. And then 2 minutes later, they're playing. With adults, like our seasoned elders, like, it's not about holding on to it. It's about letting it go. Because what does holding on to it do for me? What does it do for me to hold on to this? What does it do for me to keep this in my spirit? It doesn't serve me. It doesn't help me. It doesn't do anything for me, right? And that right there is what feeling and being present with those feelings does for you. It might take you a few minutes. It might take you a few hours. It took me a couple hours to go through how I felt. And if I had a regret, I regret that I didn't do it sooner. I regret that I didn't do it sooner, because the way it took a weight off is amazing. Like, it is amazing. When it comes to being present with yourself, I want you to think about something. I want you to envision two versions of yourself, right? I want you to envision this current version of you that's listening. The version of you that might be in survival mode. You're not fully satisfied, not where you want to be. You're walking through life like a zombie. You're carrying burdens, weight, responsibilities that's not yours. You are people pleasing and doing things that you believe you have to do. You are not alive. You're just living or just existing. And you may be just drifting off into daydreams or into your thoughts. You're not really present with your life, right? Your motto might be stand up, keep going, figure it out. I want you to envision another part of you. Two versions of you. I just gave you the first one. The second version of you is your inner child. And your inner child is the key to the highest version of you. Your inner child is the key to the highest version of you. Your inner child only comes out when you're alone. Your inner child only comes out when you're alone because there's no expectations for you to be anything else but yourself. Your inner child may have only been seen by one or a few people, if anybody. Your inner child is constantly asking for you to stop, to slow down, to think about what you really want. Your inner child challenges your survival mode. That mindset of we only need to survive. Your inner child asks constantly, what about joy? What about play? What about fulfillment? What about purpose? And at some point, that inner child, that voice might get quieter and quieter and quieter, because survival mode is scary. Survival mode is so detrimental and so scary. We are only supposed to use survival mode to survive. Only to survive. Not to live, to survive. Only when there's present danger. Not a lifelong thing. And a lot of us have been or are living in survival mode. And the phrases that will come to mind for me when it comes to the inner child is, can I come out? Can we sit down for a minute? And I want to live. The biggest issue with your inner child and your survival mode is the divide starts between your current reality. Your current reality and where you desire to be. Where you deserve and desire to be. It may drive a wedge between friends and family and relationships and environments that you're used to. People might fall away. You might try to go to spaces that you're no longer welcomed in because they don't know who you are anymore. But honey, that's okay. That's okay. That's good. It might not seem like it's good at first, but do you want to be known for somebody or not? Or do you want to be known for who you are? You may feel like you don't fit anywhere. And that's okay too. That's okay. You don't deserve to be in a place where you have to water yourself down or you have to do more just to fit in. That's tiring. That's taxing. And I wanted to share the how-tos. The how-tos that I came up with that worked for me, that helped me. The first one is how to pivot. When you run into a challenge that reroutes you, how to pivot is remember your why. And now with a lot of these different things, I'm going to have questions. And there are things that you can write down, things that you can use and reflect on. I suggest to write them down and reflect on them or use voice memos. Remember your why when you need to know how to pivot, right? Why do I want that goal, dream, or desire? Number 2, find the next best way to get there. Find the next best way to get to where you were going. Find the next best route. Go back to the drawing board. Sit down for a moment, reevaluate, and see what is the next best step. And number 3, keep reminding yourself of your why. When you feel like running back to the street of stagnant, when you feel like going back to Never Going to Change Avenue, remember your why. Keep reminding yourself of your why. Why are you doing it? Why do you want this? Why is this so important to you? Keep reminding yourself of your why. When you remind yourself of your why, it shortens that gap between reality and where you want to go. For immersion, when you feel like you can't take it anymore, when you feel like you're not strong enough, or you don't have what it takes, remember your what and your who. Remember what do you dream of? What do you want your life to look like? Remember your who. Who do I want to be? And then, can I fully be that without shame, guilt, dysfunction, or hesitation in this space or with this person? And then, would my highest self be in this space or around this person? Number 2, for immersed or immersion, remind yourself, if you weren't capable, God wouldn't have given you the assignment. Stop starting and then stopping because of how others feel about your transition or about what you're doing. Run your race. You have the endurance, the gift, the strength, the courage, the knowledge, the capability for it. So run your race. They are going to be mad whether you do or don't. They ain't going to like it whether you do or don't. You are not going to be able to please everybody. So stop stopping and then starting and then stopping and then starting, and then stopping, and then starting because somebody's uncomfortable about what you're doing to get to the highest version of yourself. Lastly, embrace. Making peace with the changes. Be alone or be aligned. What I mean is, if the people who you used to be around don't want to be around you because you're changing, be alone. Or go find yourself some new company with people who are aligned with where you want to go. That's what I mean. Be alone or be aligned. You want to be in spaces with people that challenge your limited beliefs. You don't want to be in a space where you feel comfortable and you just the same. You're not growing. People get it so confused. There's nothing wrong with being in a space that you're comfortable in, right? Of course you'll be in a space you're comfortable in. But a space that you're not growing, a space that you're regressing, a space that you're picking up bad habits, no thank you. Nah. You want to be in a space where people challenge your limited beliefs. You want to be in a space where people challenge your lack mindset. You want to be in a space with people who open your mind, who challenge you to be better, who encourage you to be better. Number 2. Get honest and get over yourself. Get over yourself, meaning get over your pride and get over your ego. Get over your prideful self, get over your egotistical self. Get honest and get over it. Questions that I have that you can write down. If you stay the exact same way you are, with the exact same environment you're in, with the exact same people, and nothing changed for the next 10 years, would you be happy? Why or why not? What is more important to you? Your feelings and happiness, or other people's opinions of what you feel and how you live your life? What is stopping you from living in your truth? What are beliefs that you carry about love, money, family, womanhood or manhood, and pain that were never yours to begin with? For example, a belief, an example could be, you were taught that money is the root of all evil. Do you agree with that? Does that resonate with you? Does that align with the highest version of you? Last question is, where is your happy or safe space that you retreat to when you drift off in your mind or when you daydream? Is to keep in mind that ego, pride, fear, denial, avoidance, and people-pleasing can only take you but so far. Higher places require higher frequencies.